If you've enjoyed the content we've made so far in 2024, we're asking you to pick up a Kinda Funny membership on patreon.com/kindafunny or youtube.com/kindafunnygames to say thanks as part of August's Kinda Funny membership drive. That 10 spot would get you access to more than 130 exclusive episodes of content. And to give you a taste, we're posting one of the exclusive Gregways just like this each and every Saturday and Sunday in August. On top of that, make sure you join us for weekly public happy hours where we take Patreon member calls live for everyone as previews of what a Kinda Funny membership gets you each and every month. On the set of the Kinda Funny podcast, you're supposed to be getting the Kinda Funny podcast right now, but tragedy has struck. Today, a plane in San Francisco unloaded thousands of snakes onto all of Kinda Funny except me and Kevin. And we're the last. No. Hey, everybody, it's me, Greg. And so this is very special. And it says, Benny B. Good says no audio. There's no audio. There's no audio.
Yeah, there wasn't for a second. It was down on this thing.
So did they hear when I was fucking around?
They heard, like, it wasn't.
Real funny if you didn't see
the part where I was like, all right, we're live. We're live. That didn't go through.
So it's just me typing. Just me here.
Yeah,
do the thing.
yeah.
Easy enough. Hey, everybody, welcome to a very special, not Kinda Funny podcast. You've been duped. You're here for a live Gregway. So here's what happened, ladies and gentlemen. Over the weekend, I was playing a little game called Fallout 76. And while I was playing that, I checked Twitter every so often, right? And I saw that Kendrick had dropped his new diss track. And I was like, oh, Blessing and Roger are always talking about this. I haven't caught up. I listened to Kendrick's thing, and I was like, damn, that was good. Now I want everything. Now I need to go into it the way Roger has come into WWE, right? And so I hit up Roger, and I said, hey, do you have a playlist of all the Kendrick Drake burns in a row, right, that are straight down the line or whatever, chronologically? And he's like, I'm literally about to finish one. Hold on a second. And then like 30 minutes later, he came back with all the links. And then he also gave me like paragraph descriptions for information I needed to know about each one and why they're blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, yesterday, I was giving baby Ben a bath, and I looked at my phone, and I opened Twitter just as Drake dropped his response. So I hit up Roger, and we had a very funny exchange. I'm sure you all saw on Twitter or social media, where he's like, I can't, never in my wildest dreams did I think Greg Miller would be the one telling me Drake just dropped a new one. And so that cued in my head, this has nothing to do with what we're about to talk about. Stick with me. Then I'm like, well, damn, you know what? If it's gotten so mainstream that a big old chucklehead moron like me is interested in it, we should probably do something with what we've been doing here, because Blessing and Roger have done 2 Gregways to date about the Kendrick Drake beef, right? And the evolution of it. And so when we got into work today, I was like, hey, actually slacked them last time. You guys should do a 3rd one for Gregway this week or today. And he's like, they were like, yeah, of course. Then by the time we got to work, I evolved the idea, and I was like, you know what? Honestly, what you should do is take the first Gregway and the second Gregway, put them together, then come in here when you were going to do a Gregway, do an intro to the Kinda Funny podcast, explain that you'd been covering this on Patreon and membership only, that you were going to put those into this, make it a Kinda Funny podcast, and then do a final section that would be the latest update to it all. And they're like, yeah. And then, of course, they're overachievers. We're like, you know what? We just want to do a whole show about it. We don't want to Frankenstein together. We're just going to do one from the start. So, Bless and Roger recorded your Kinda Funny podcast today. They did it while the stream was happening. It was an evolution of the Gregway idea that became that thing. And so then it was like, well, cool, that'll go up at 6 a.m. and that's great. But then we have this recording here, and there was a whole bunch of, should we flip the recordings and do this thing and yada, 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 but they are streaming and this is happening. And I was like, don't do it. Instead, we still need a Gregway for today, Monday, May 6th, 6th de Mayo. And I said, you know what? Why don't I just go in there and I'll use the time. We'll trick the kids who are here for the Kinda Funny podcast. And I'll just hang out. We'll do a live Gregway Q&A. Maybe hang out for like an hour. Just chat it up with you, the chat, the trogs over here. People like Langley, Fargo Brady, Cooper, Steven, Lexi G, Madeline Stanley. Madeline Stanley says, I've been so fascinated by this beef. I have from a distance. This Drake Kendrick BS. And like I said, I was like, you know what? It's time to wade into this because, of course, Fallout, I have a lot of time roaming the wastelands. And by the way, if you have no questions, I will turn this into an hour-long podcast strictly about Fallout 76. And so I was like listening to it and enjoying the music. And then, of course, Roger did such a great job breaking it down. I was like, well, there we go. There we go. Benny B. Good says we were duped. You were. Blue-haired protagonist. I've been tricked. You have been. Welcome, Kinda Funny members. Thank you for choosing to hang out with me today. If you've never listened to a Gregway before, you've been duped into one, and you're participants now. And if any of you try to leave, there will be consequences. Yes, Kevin.
I don't think they like chose to be here.
That's what I'm saying. They've been duped.
Yeah.
Now that they're in, though, it's too late. It's like when you come thinking you're going to get the free Disney World trip, then they lock the door and it's a timeshare thing or a cult. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah.
Marco says, I'm very excited to watch Afterlife this week with the small human. Interesting question, Marco. Now, are you speaking out of church? Are you incorrect and you actually mean Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which of course drops digital tomorrow, which I will be buying. And yes, I will be buying a Blu-ray for it eventually. Because I need to know. Because I'm very excited to show Ben too. You know, it's one of those where Ben obsessed with the Ecto-1 and the cars of the ghosts. And he likes the busting. He goes with his fingers all the time. And then he goes, and that's him trapping me. I'm excited to show him the opening chase scene with the Ecto-1. I think that's fine with them chasing the, sewer ghost or the dragon through the streets of New York or whatever. Probably cut it there though. But it's going to be good for him now. Fargo Brady says, catfish. I told myself that this would never happen again. Oh, no, Marco says, and then try Frozen Empire. Marco, how old is your little human? Because that's the other thing. Ben doesn't have that attention span, and these movies are too scary for him. I'm excited to get there. Kendall brings up a painful memory for Kevin and says, like when they trick you into thinking you're getting an ice machine.
Why?
I'm just saying, hey, we're here. We're here. It's all live, It's what's happening over here.
Greg, do you see DC's post, the Superman thing?
The outfit?
Yeah.
Yeah. We put up a social video reaction to it today.
Oh, did we?
God, Jen came to work with me today and I asked her to shave my neck and she forgot to.
Look at me to get Andy?
I think when he's done streaming, he can get the razor out of my bag or off my desk and come. Because it's just these little wings I hate. And the way our lights catch him, hate it.
I'll let him know really quick. You'll be on your own.
See what I mean?
No, yeah, I see it and I hate it too.
God, I hate it so much.
You look like you're falling apart.
I definitely. The beard looks that way too. But it's like the amplification.
The neck. It takes it so much further.
It does. It looks like something's going wrong. Hate it. Hard to find says, Greg, what's your favorite song of the beef? Hard to find. I said it's the latest Kendrick one, and the latest as of today. Let me see if I can find my little chat log with Roger there, because we had these same conversations. You know what I mean. I liked the latest one. That was Not Like Us. I like Not Like Us. MDY. Fewer greater simple pleasures than a good neck shave. It's true. Marco says he's 8 going on 9. He has seen bits and pieces of Afterlife, but I wasn't too sure about how scary Frozen Empire would be for him. I think Frozen Empire is a scary movie, period. I thought Andy would be scared of it. So I'm definitely, Ben will not be getting that anytime soon. Toombley says, Greg, are you still watching X-Men 97 and are you enjoying it? If so, if you remember 2 episodes of the Kind of Funny podcast ago, I made Tim watch a Bluey episode. And then he's like, the joke was I had to watch episode 5 of X-Men. I have not. Of course, it's much easier to watch things on content or at work. And I really missed the boat by not forcing me to watch it in that podcast. Because I've thought about it. I'll give you that. I've thought about it. All right, stressful couple of week here, yeah. 2 weeks. Jen has a family emergency, and she had to go to Canada for 10 straight days, unexpectedly. And so, I want to say the Friday night that she was gone, I made a frozen pizza, home run in, delicious. Maybe it wasn't Friday, but it doesn't matter. I made a frozen pizza one of these nights, and I was like, I'm going to fucking destroy this pizza and it's going to be great. And that meant, of course, I couldn't play games, which is all I ever want to do. So I was like, I need to watch something. And I sat down, turned on the TV, and I thought about it. But then I remember Tim being, I was like, it's 38 minutes. And I was like, I'm not going to be here for 38 minutes. I'm not going to be sitting here straight for 38 minutes. And so I put on Stavi, Stavros, I forget his last name, but I know him as Stavi from Stavi's World, comedian, fat rascal on Netflix. Watched 20 minutes of that or whatever. Had a great time, turned it off and went away. Just disposable. You know what I mean? Able to get out of there. Benny B. Good says, how does this compare to the Tay-Tay Kardashian beef? You know what I mean? As both, I'm just an outside observer. My thing with Taylor Swift and the music, and you all know how much I love Taylor Swift. I am not I'm going to dive into the what rabbit hole and go into the Wikipedia and see all this and that and blah, blah, blah. And okay. And then and instead I see a TikTok and somebody's like, Olivia Rodrigo wrote Vampire about Taylor Swift. And then Taylor Swift's new album mentions it. And I was like, oh, okay. And that information's gone. I can't even remember the names of her non-famous ex-boyfriends. And some of them even that are famous but aren't famous to me. You know what I mean? Like a Jake Gyllenhaal, sure. John Mayer, sure. Matt Healy, Joe Allen. I know the names. They could walk in here and give me a cup of coffee. I don't know who the fuck they are. Josh G says home run pizza is great. Thank you, Josh G. You want to talk about one of the, there's nothing more disappointing than hyping something up food-wise, giving it to a friend or a peer, right, and having them be like, And when we did that, you remember, this is an old kind of funny thing. When we had the frozen pizza wars, where we had DiGiorno and Jack's and Home Run Inn sending us pizzas, sending us frozen pizza ovens and stuff. When Home Run Inn entered the fray and sent us the pizzas and sent us the pizza oven, I was like, guys, you don't understand. This pizza, frozen, does taste just like what Home Run Inn pizza in Chicago tastes like. And we made it, and Tim, I think, was like, this tastes like Chuck E. Cheese pizza. And I was like, I am offended. He's like, I don't mean it to be offensive. It's just what it is. And I was like, I am still offended. Now, is that what it's... I haven't had Chuck E. Cheese in years. Maybe it does taste like that. But you know what I mean? Where I was like stoked about it to share this piece of Chicago with them, my hometown, my childhood with them, right? They didn't like it. Similar thing almost happened when we went to Mizzou, gave away those computers on Kind of Funny back in the day, me and Tim, right? And so we went to Shakespeare's Pizza, which again is, I don't think the greatest pizza in the world, right? Even though it did win Barstool's best college pizza place in 2012. And, Tim had it. He's like, it's solid, but it's not like, and I'm like, yeah, I know. But we actually had this conversation, I think, at the airport, because he's like, the pizza was fine. It was whatever. And he's like, the wings at CJ's were the best wings I've ever had in my life. And I was like, thank you. That's all that really matters to me. You know what I mean? I'm checking over here.
Greg, there was a development this Friday that I'm very excited to permeate the office at some point.
I'd love to hear about it.
We ordered pizza from a place called Totos.
Totos?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a chain or is that local?
It's local.
Okay.
There used to be one over by what became the movie theaters, right?
What became... Oh, the Regals?
No, the Century 20 over here. By the Daly City BART station.
The Daly City movie theater?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it used to be a couple buildings. One of them my dad worked for as a delivery man for a couple of years. We loved it. It closed, got demoed. And then I think Joey was talking about recently that like she wanted to order something. I was like, oh yeah, I forget that like they had another location in San Bruno. So on Friday, I was like, ooh, we should order Totos.
Yeah.
And everybody that had some really enjoyed it. I think that maybe we make it our new go-to spot.
I want to look at this pizza. Totos Pizza and Grill. No, that's not it. Totos Pizza. San Bruno Totos Pizza.
There it is.
Oh my God. Is that place still standing? And that's what the sign looks like? That's awesome.
I don't know what you're looking at.
I'm on totos.com/find us/San Bruno. And they got this thing that looks like it's pulled out of 1982 for the sign out front. And I'm all about that sign.
I believe that is still
That's
the
fucking
sign
dope as shit.
Let me see if I can
celebrating 92 years.
Studio picture.
There you go. Yeah, that's the one right there.
Yeah.
I like that, Kevin.
Yeah.
I'm looking here at the... Oh, yeah, that's fine. Oh my God, just let me click on the pizzas. These pizzas look good.
It's a good-looking pizza.
They got pasta too?
I've never had the pasta. I can't vouch for
Sure, you're not going to swear about it. I appreciate that. I respect that.
But the pizza, yeah, we ordered it on Friday, and Mike was kind of blown. He was like, this meat one you got, oh. And I was like, I know, right? It was spectacular. The pepperoni pizza was like just a tiny bit extra toasty. We didn't ask for it. That's just the way it came in, and it was good.
Albie says, just wanted to say thank you, Greg, for trying to acknowledge NBs when you address the audience. As someone who recently discovered they're non-binary, it feels great to be seen. No problem, Albie. There's an old Gregway about this of trying to get it into the repertoire. I am not perfect by any means at it. I am trying, though, as you know. As we learned in the Gregway where I talked about it, I kept saying, I was like, I don't say ladies and gentlemen that much. And then throughout that Gregway, I said ladies and gentlemen no less than like 5 times. It's just like, it's just one, it's you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Ladies and gentlemen, it's like that kind of thing where it's just a thing in there. Keep me going. I appreciate it. Thank you. Mr. Hawk says, Mr. Miller, how would someone go about inviting you to be a guest on a podcast? Email, written invitation sent by mail, blood sacrifice, asking for a friend. Parentheses, me. I'm my only friend. Mr. Hawks, I mean, you can email. The answer will probably be no. It's not anything to do with you. It's more to do with me and the crazy schedule that Kind of Funny is, where inevitably when I do say I'll be on that podcast, no matter the size, it ends up on the day I'm like, why the fuck did I do this? Not because I don't want to do it. I would love to be on it. It's more that fact that if I'm on that, it means I'm not doing this, which means I delay that. But I schedule my favorite thing is when I schedule on the calendar like 3 or 4 hours to play a video game, and then you're 2.5 hours into that block, and all I've done is sent emails or had meetings or phone calls. I'm like, you know what I mean? And so there's a big balancing act here of trying to make sure that all the content actually happens. And so it's been incredibly tough to do that. And so, like I said, I usually regret it, or then inevitably I end up bumping it because of something else happening or some other somebody's doing a goddamn thing we got to react to. Because that's the thing. It's not even our own shit that gets in the way of it. It's fucking Phil Spencer wants to have a podcast that you got to go listen to and talk about. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And yeah, I wasn't even on that because I was on Dice, and there you go. That's what I'm talking about. Dr. Zeus says we should get a Kind of Funny Magic the Gathering virtual night going. You're allowed to do that, you fucking dork. You know? Dr. Zeus also. No chance that Greg's following the NHL. Oh, somebody asked earlier if I was watching the NHL playoffs. I am not watching the NHL playoffs. As you know, I respect the game of hockey. I appreciate the game of hockey. I like going to games of hockey. But watching it's never been my jam. Steven says, please look at Lou Malnati's. I'm not sure if you're saying that to Kevin if he was talking, because you quote Kind of Funny games. And if you're talking to me, because if you're talking to me, what I'll tell you is get Lou Malnati's the fuck out of here. This is a Giordano's household, all right? When you, in the Battle of Chicago pizzas, we're going Giordano's over this. Lou Malnati's and their cornmeal crust, stiff as a board. Get the fuck out of here. Joe McCormick says, Greg, did you watch Backlash on Saturday? The WWE Backlash, of course, was in Lyon, France this weekend. I've seen clips. I did not sit down to watch the entire of the show. I believe I was doing dishes at one point, and I threw it on and saw Jade and Bianca win the tag team titles. Fantastic finish there. But the highlights, holy shit. First thing I did when I got in here was talk to the only Roger Picorni about the fucking crowd. That crowd was insane. If you haven't seen it, I said it on Games Daily, I think. Go in TikTok and look for like the compilation, because them singing the songs when the songs are off, them chanting everything, the people having to stop to acknowledge them, the camera shaking when AJ Styles is in the ring because they are just bouncing so hard in this fucking arena that they're shaking. Insane. Marco says, is Jen a Habs fan? Yes and no. I mean, Jen's a Habs fan in the way that she's a proud Canadian from Quebec, right? So it's like, when I went up there for our first dates, we went to there. Drunk as fucking insane. We were so fucking drunk. So I was so drunk. We went to Joe Beef, had this amazing meal. We're in like, she's in a dress. I'm killing it in this dress too. I'm in like a shirt and tie. We go there, have this Joe Beef thing, and then it was like, we're drunk off one, cocktails too. And then it was like, oh, the Habs are playing. We should go. Okay, sure, of course we should. We got there. We got there like end of the third almost. Like it was almost over. Got there. Ordered beers, and it's my first time being in the Bell Center, where I've always wanted to go for WWE, because Montreal and Quebec is such a wrestling province. Got there, immediately beeline to the beers. I get this giant Molson in a plastic glass, and they put a top on it. And I was so drunk that I was like, "You drink?" To the fucking guy and Jen, you guys drink your beer here through straws in the plastic cups? And they both were like, yeah. And it wasn't until I was at the seat, halfway through my beer, drinking it out of a straw, like Jen's like, no, we don't fucking do that, you idiot. It was just so you could carry. It's like, you got me, you fucking Canadians. But it was good. But I was wasted. And then it was like already too fucking cold because it's Montreal. And then there was like outdoor exhibits and stuff. So we went there. I have all these drunk videos and photos of her and I, and these like this light installation they did. Not like we were on top of lights. It was like, one of those things like they had like swings made of light and teeter-totters with lights and shit all over and stuff. That's what we do. Nick's in here. He's pointing at stuff. He's not talking to me, though.
Greg, I don't think it's your fault you got confused. They do the whole like milk in a bag thing. Jesus
oh, my God,
Christ.
Right? It's another culture over there. I'm visiting. You tell me that's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. I want to do that. Whatever. Jacob says, Greg, do you ever find yourself falling asleep at the sticks after a long day of work / family / general life tasks? Like, how long do your gaming sessions typically, how long are your gaming sessions typically to end the night? Great question, Jacob. And the answer is yes. In some of my favorite games, I've fallen asleep. I remember God of War Ragnarok. Wanting to play it so badly and having to stop myself because I would wake up and Kratos was just running into a wall. Because I would nod off. Our cutscene would start. It'd be this beautiful moment. I'd fall asleep. I'd wake up. We'd be out of the cutscene. Do the capture button. Capture the last 15 minutes just to be safe. Scroll back. Watch the video. Then go through. It happens a lot. I think my goal every night is to make it to midnight. Midnight's my bedtime. And so usually, that means, oftentimes, Jen goes to bed earlier, goes to read a book or whatever. Or, we sit on the couch and I play Portal. She watches whatever kind of thing. And I would say the later you get in the week, the harder it is to hit that midnight time frame. You know what I mean? That's what starts wearing you down. Same thing with a good weekend gaming session even. You know what I mean? Saturday, Jen coaxed me into napping. Like, it was one of those where I think, we were Ben would not settle down for his nap, so he wanted to lay in the big bed. He loves being in the big bed, but he just will not sleep in the big bed. So by the time he gave up on it and we put him back in the crib, I was like, I've had my eyes closed too long. I'm going to go back to the big bed and lay down. Did that, woke up, went to the second nap window, eventually got him to bed, and then I had energy in the tank and went down and played till midnight. No, 11, something like that. And again, like, I'm playing Fallout 76 right now at home for fun, right? What I'm finding so great about that game, it would be for any Fallout game, is the sense of achievement of the task is done, the objective is done, I've leveled up, I've dinged, I've delivered the whatever to the whoever, and now it's time to pick a new quest to go on. It's like such a nice bookend of like, I finished a chapter today, I can put that down and go, rather than these other games where it just bleeds into it, which is great. I love that. But like having a point of like, I'm not going to finish Fallout 76 anytime soon, so I can close it and put it away. And I feel like I've accomplished something here. But I talked to in probably a Gregway, probably a Kind of Funny podcast, but definitely in a show with Joey about this, and I already forget it, but whatever they call it, of like revenge time or something like that, where it's like you're so exhausted when you get to the time you have to where you should just go to bed, but you feel like you've put all your own stuff that you want to do off so long that now you're going to do all the stuff you wanted to do, and it doesn't matter how tired you are, which just makes you more tired, and then the whole thing happens and falls apart like that. But then there's other times like last night where, Jen, again, only back from this trip for 48 hours last night, and was like, I left her up there at like 8 o'clock. She's like, I'm so exhausted from the time change, but I can't go right to bed because I don't want to wake up 3 a.m. I'm like, all right, cool. She's like, I'm going to watch TikToks, maybe read my book. I'm like, all right, cool. And like 10, 20, 15, I got the text of like, I'm going to brush my teeth. I'm like, all right, do you want me to come tuck you in? She's like, in a little bit. I eventually went up there and she's like, how much longer are you going to play? And I was like, you want me to come to bed? She's like, I'd like you to come to bed. I'm like, sure, let's, whatever. Turn it off and come back upstairs and stuff like that. So there's little things like that. But yes, I get tired all the time, and it sucks of doing it, but you got to do it and you put it off. And again, I'm privileged, since having been my favorite question / I feel so bad answering it is when our developer friends see me still platinuming stuff or playing so many different things and having opinions about it, and they're literally like, how do you do it? You have a kid, I have a 2-year-old and I can't play. I'm like, well, you're making a game from 9 to 5. Like, I am technically, I've been playing a game since I came off Games Daily today, right, for review. I guess Cryptmaster, I can tell you that, we're reviewing on Thursday, right? So it's like, I can cheat the system that way. It's not limited to just what I can do from home like it is for anybody working a job that isn't playing video games and stuff like that. But, I push it as much as I can push it. Even playing Cryptmaster today. This is not playing Cryptmaster today. I'm not saying if it's good or bad. I can tell you playing anything, I am in the mood to play more Fallout, right? So it's like, even if I'm enjoying or hating Cryptmaster, it's like, man, can't wait to get home and play Fallout tonight. That's just the weird thing of like something I think Jen doesn't even really get about me in games is like, it's insatiable. And it is such a different thing if I'm playing. Right now, we have a great cadence. We talked a little bit about this with the changeover in the schedule and Games Daily and really programming around headlines and doing all these different things where it's like, I feel more than ever I have time to play what I need to play at work for work. Now, I think part of that is that I'm playing smaller games at work. You know what I mean? I'm not reviewing Fallout where it would be if I was, you play as much as you can here at home and that. It would chase me everywhere. You figure, no, I guess it's not a big game. But I feel like the next one will be Hellblade. When we get Hellblade 2, that will be one that I play at home and then play at work at home when I get there and switch off that way, so that you can make sure you power through and do it. Just do whatever. But yeah. Madeline Stanley has an interesting one. I'm sure Fallout 76 will eventually get its time in the sun on a Gamescast, but that will be not this week for sure, based on how everything's set up for the Gamescast. So I don't mind giving you a little bit. Madeline Stanley says, I'm so close to trying Fallout 76, but I'm not sure I would like it. It's so story light. Madeline, yes and no. I would say what? Since the Todd Howard interview, I guess 1 week today, I went home that night and started Fallout 76 and have been playing nightly, daily since then. And I would say, and granted, how much time am I playing each time and blah, 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 blah. I would say that it was this weekend where it really clicked in and it felt like Fallout. And that's not a detriment to the other one, but I think it's more me coming back to 76 after, 3 years, according to my save, which at that point had been the one weekend with Bless when they finally added NPCs versus, however many years it had been since launch when I played a little bit there. Jumping into it and not getting, I rolled with the same character I had who was level 15 when I started, right? So jumping back in and not getting the intro, not getting the vault, not really remembering why I was doing what I was doing in West Virginia. I think for a while it was just like, okay, I'm just doing stuff. But this weekend was the one where, I'm doing it felt like the fucking quote from Walton Goggins in the show, right? Of like the number one rule is get distracted by bullshit. Where it was, I'm doing it, and I found this robot I like, and she wants me to go do all these different things, and I'm doing it, and they've been interesting, and I fought a Deathclaw, that's great. And then it was, on my way, I get a signal from this supposed astronaut who's here, and I'm like, what the fuck? I go chase that. She's super interesting, get her recruited to my camp. Okay, I'm going to go here. Well, hold on a second. Before I go there, there's this guy at the pumpkin house who wants my help. I got to go check that out. Like, I was doing all the little things, finding quirky characters, finding neat little story things, and also, like, finally getting to running into enemies of a higher level than me, where it wasn't, I don't, like, again, your mechanics are going to be different for an MMO or an always online multiplayer Fallout. But, like, I have a shotgun and I have, like, 800 rounds. So it's just fucking people up when they come at me, right? And when they're your own level, no problem. It was nice to run into super mutants who actually felt like super mutants and these other things. It was like, okay, like, maybe I've gotten deep enough in the game now that it's kind of revealing itself of where the challenge would be in this. But I'm having a lot of fun with it right now, being the Fallout, what is over that hill? What is that icon? Okay, what's that? And kind of by happenstance and fuckery, I've run into the main quest again. And it's like, oh, okay, I kind of get, yeah, okay, cool. You want me to go do this, do that? And you go talk to somebody, like, and then even as somebody who hates building your shack, your shelters. Just building it? What am I trying to say? I guess crafting, but you know what I mean. I don't like the whole build a house shit. When I came back and got into it, like, I had the vault interior. So dropping that and just having a preset, my own vault to fill out with shit and do stuff, I was like, all right, this is kind of cool. And same thing with, like, I'm on a mission to get my own power armor, and I've had power armors before, but, like, you have to build a specific thing, so I'm leveling up. So then I'm actually looking into how that works, and then it was like, oh, like, I have fusion cores. Oh, I can charge fusion cores with this thing if I build them and put down generators. So, there I am outside of my vault, putting down 4 different generators and running lines to it. And then I'm charging my fusion cores. I'm like, all right, this is kind of sick of, like, now my fusion cores in the old, or power armor in the old Fallout games I rarely ever use because I always thought it was a waste of my time. This core's going to run out. I'm just going to have this giant thing on. What does it matter? Now that I'm like, oh, this is like a renewable resource here that I can build for. I like that. I like that a lot. So I'm enjoying it. And back to the story light thing. Yes, I obviously, I think it's lighter than, hey, go save your son or go find your dad or do whatever. But it is also, I think, a little bit more of a blank slate than to make your own story in it and find, like, again, what I'm saying of, like, I recruited one person as an ally and it was just like, Yeah, here's your fucking guitar. I don't give a shit about you. But like this astronaut person, I'm like, what do you need? Let's go. You're awesome. I want to help you out and figure out what the fuck's going on. Da, 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 da. Let alone my man Jack-O-Lantern over there who needs help with his pumpkins. I'm going to be all about that. Joshy G says, I did a two-handed melee build in Fallout 76, and my friends have gotten mad how easily I've been killing enemies, including super mutants. Yeah, it's funny to jump into this character and kind of have like amnesia. And I'm like, oh, I got this shotgun, so I'm building around shotguns. And like last night, you know, my strength is like off the charts. I'm like strength 12 or something on my, you know, special. And it's like, that's where the shotgun stuff is for some reason. Plus, I hate being over encumbered, so I want to hold as much as possible. And last night I went in and I was like, oh, I can't use the card because I souped up the card. And I was like, what do I have in here? And I had like a souped up melee weapon, one hand and two hands. I was like, oh, I was clearly going a different way when I made this character. But again, now I have 9,000 things. So what's up with that? Madeline says base building is what I was trying to say. Good call. Madeline Stanley says to Mr. Hawks, I would definitely be down to play together if we can find time. For the I would love to play with you guys. Anybody, but I mean, Mr. Hawks and Madeline, if you're playing on PlayStation 5, well, I guess it's PlayStation 4 version, right? Doesn't matter. That's my one thing that I keep coming back to is playing Fallout 76 right now. I'm having fun. I don't think, obviously, like we're talking about storyline, it's as crazy as a regular Fallout game, but there are those things there that I'm still tinkering with. But anyways, I keep coming back to like, I don't understand why it's multiplayer. Like there's the aliens are invading right now, and one of those events popped up, and I was like, sure, why not? And I jumped in, and it's like, however many, a dozen of us or whatever, it is just shooting fucking aliens, and then you know I got downed a couple times, and then on one of the revives, it seemed like it bumped me out of it, but I was still there. So like I lost the mission and there were still aliens and we killed all the aliens and it was just kind of over. And I was like, did I get the reward? This just kind of pulled me out of my thing to put me here. And granted, I'm playing with people or I'm seeing people in the world that are like level 539. So it's like, I get that they don't want to do the same bullshit over and over again, but it's like, I didn't feel incentivized to do that. Why did I do that? And like occasionally when I've crossed paths with people, like, hey, you know what I mean? Tracy Henderson ran by me in a game and gave me some stuff. That was cool. Some other guy who's not a kind of funny best friend, I assume, shot at me. I shot back. That kicked it off. He blew my brains out. I was like, all right, that's something. Sky writes in and says, will they become a member for 4 months? Thank you so much. It says, hi, Greg. Actually, hey, Greg. I don't want to misquote you. Finally got around to playing Diablo 4 because of all your previous glowing reviews, thanks to Game Pass. Such an incredible game, so thanks for hyping it up. Also, happy belated birthday. Thank you. For my birthday wishes, but also for listening to me and trying Diablo. Yeah, Game Pass has brought a whole bunch of people into it. Super stoked for the Xbox thing. You got to imagine that's where we hear all about the new expansion that they're working on and what they're doing over there. For me, Diablo, it's interesting, not how fast I cooled, because I played it all year long last year, but if you remember in the lead up to Christmas, holiday break, I was playing a bunch of it, and I was very much like, talking to Jess and Janet and Bless on PS I Love You. I was so like, oh man, like these PlayStation stats are funny. I bet for sure mine will be first game I play in 2024 is Diablo. And it probably was. I still played it that early part of the year, but like I just dropped it. Like it just fell off my radar for I don't know what sidetracked me or what else I got into, but it did it, and I haven't felt the urge to go back. We did the stream here not too long ago, one of those NVIDIA ones, and it was fun to be back into it, but again it was like I'm not compelled to pour more hours into it. And I imagine somewhere in there you got to imagine Helldivers is a problem, where why haven't I been drawn back to it or whatever. I think Helldivers has a more interesting incentive for me to jump in and play with my friends and play at any level and do all the stuff and are in the battle or the war bond and like, right. It's just, that's where everybody is. I think those are more bite size. I have more friends playing it probably. That's interesting. If only I could get Jen to play Helldivers, you know? Kyle the Fish says, I've been jumping between Fallout 4, Fallout 76, and Starfield, and you can really see how each entry expands upon some of the systems at play. I feel like Fallout 76 had a ton of influence on Starfield. For sure. And that's one of the things I'm fascinated with right now for myself. I'm really into Fallout 76. It's one of those that is right now behind the eyes of like, ooh, I really want to go play. Ooh, I really want to quest. Ooh, I wanted to go do whatever stupid thing it is. And again, I think it is because it fits what I'm doing, the way my life works. And again, of like, check it off the list. I did that thing. I'm moving on to that thing. I'm when I get to level 25, I need to go back and get this thing and build that armor. When I build that armor, I want to put this paint on it and blah, 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 blah. However, May 15th, right, is the drop for Starfield's big update. And even when I'm playing Fallout 76 and enjoying it, I do, back to Madeline, bump up against it where it's like, I could go for a little bit more story, a little bit more lore than this piece of paper, than this holotape I find, which again are well acted and well written and all that jazz. But like, I could go for a little bit, more. And I feel like that's what Starfield is in so many ways. And so I really do wonder if when that update drops and I go back to my character Becky Lynch and start game 5 or 6, whatever it is, and all these little updates are there, if that'll hook me back in, or if even then I'm going to jump in and go like, cool, it's more and that's great. I'm going to wait for Shattered Space and see what that's all about later. But I've been in such a Bethesda mood after the show, in such a Fallout mood, that I think, jumping into Fallout 4, again, bells and whistles were nice, but it was just like, all right, like, I can never make my character look good. And it's just like, all right. And it's the same. Whereas like Fallout 76, I was like, all right, well, there's stuff happening here. So much has changed. I think there's more valuable conversation for me as Greg Miller and you as Kind of Funny listener for me to go to this game. Because for years, right, you've heard, oh, Fallout 76 is better. And it is way better running on my PlayStation 5 than it was running on my, I guess, PlayStation 5, right, in 2021 when I played with Bless. But even that said, like, I've seen it through every iteration. Like, I actually have gone back and I'm listening to the Gamescast, where that's me, Tim, and Jared talking about the Fallout beta. And so, like, listen to the thoughts and opinions of me there. It's an interesting conversation to see how it's gone and why it might be working better this time around, right? Tracy Moaz. Sorry to hear Diablo 4 fell off your radar. I'm itching to dive into Season 4 next week. Starfield update is next week too. 76 had my attention for the last few. Sounds like we're the same. It's really same there. For the Diablo 4 season, what's the big change? I haven't read about Season 4 much. Like, I know we had the Construct season here. Are they adding anything that's super hype for 4, or is it just more shit to do? Andrew says, I wish I didn't play Diablo when it came out. I totally thought I was going to lose myself in the game, but I just haven't touched it. Now it's on Game Pass, and I feel like I wasted $70. A tale as old as time with video games, right? Like, we all have the backlog, the shame, the things you paid for, what you put on your shelf, you never broke the saran wrap on. Like, if you can wait, everything will be cheaper one day and have a Game of the Year edition and work much better, I'm sure. So go for it. Cooper says, I bought 76 day one, maybe put 1 hour in and never looked back. Yeah, that's the interesting thing for me in these my characters, right? This is my third Fallout character. I have Babs, who was my initial one from the beta that then carried over. I have Taylor Swift, and then I have Greg Miller, who I play as now, which is highly unlikely for me, but to play as myself. And this is definitely the deepest I've ever been in there. So it's interesting to see things come together and pay off, and then like have it be that like this guy, I read this note in a tower where he was going to go do this. They took his dog, and so he was going to go, and he had a knife in the map on the wall, but it wasn't the same map. It was like the classic map. And I'm like, oh man, I got to go try to find that knife. I want to go find what happened to this dude and his dog. Don't tell me if you know. I mean, I'm sure they're fucking dead, but you know what I mean? Let's see. I'm going to keep drinking water reading. Sky says, that all makes sense. I hope to eventually play Helldivers. I just don't have anyone to play with. Sky, look around the chat. Anybody be happy to play Helldivers with you, of course. Oh, here we go. Trey Zimois says, they completely revamped the loot system. Season is called Loot Reborn. They'll also have minor quest line like they've had in the past. Interesting. We'll see what's up with that one. Yeah, Jeff over here says, I believe the Diablo update is a full gear rework. Miniora says, what is Ben playing now? Still hooked on Hot Wheels? Ben is still hooked on Hot Wheels Unleashed, yes. Wow. Well, I totally queued. Well, don't worry about it. Don't redact it. He's still in a super Hot Wheels Unleashed. He's an interesting one where it isn't something he does every day, but it will be every so often. It comes around his thought Rolodex where we'll be doing, he's like, video games. I want to go downstairs and play Hot Wheels. I'm like, all right, let's go play Hot Wheels. And we sit there and have a great time. And he pops a few trophies for me. You know what I mean? And then he gets to a thing that'll be too tough and I want to play and he won't let me play. And I'm like, all right, well, let's try to get out of here and go do something else. Olive Party says, I'm always up for some Helldivers. We got a thread on the Discord. There you go, Sky. Go join Olive Party and see what's up over there. Jeremy says, I knew I played a bunch of 76, but when I jumped back in, I saw I was level 276, and I was like, oh, I played a ton more than I thought. That's what's interesting, I think, about Fallout 76 is that, like, I'm level 23 now, right? Or whatever, which is good and respectable. But then you see these guys you have, like, and I'm like, was there a point where you could just farm XP, or have you played that many hours of Fallout 76? Which I'm not knocking. I just think super impressive as somebody who's now, like, my game clock on it for my PlayStation 4 version is something like 40 hours or whatever, which is not just this return, it's also before or whatever. Pedro says, hey Greg, are you excited for Destiny 2 Final Shape? Have you played the new update, Into the Light? No, I am not excited. I have not played Into the Light. However, I do expect to at least kick the tires on Final Shape. I know Joey's into it, Andy's into it, and I bought that Ghostbusters shit. So I got to make use of it somehow, even if it's just a goofy-ass stream we do where we jump in and shoot stuff. But I used to love Destiny 2. I had a great time with Destiny 2. I enjoyed Destiny 1 enough, too. This isn't a weird slight against Destiny 1. But yeah, we'll see if I ever do anything with it. Here we go. Blue-haired protagonist says, personally, I don't get the Helldivers hype. I know it's cheap. You shoot things. The ongoing story is nifty, but the gameplay doesn't grab me. I'm like 20/24. Just don't get the hype, but I'm happy for you. So you're level 20 or 24 and you don't get it? That's impressive. Because that's another game that isn't like giving out XP or whatever. I feel like the hype for Helldivers is the water cooler moments, the emergent gameplay, the things you're doing with your friends, right? Like running and laughing and being a bunch of morons, and Kevin screaming in there as we shoot over him, or Nick blowing me up when I'm on, dropping an air strike on me when I'm on top of the thing. Like, those are the things about it. And I do think that, like, if you wanted to go the opposite and be super hardcore, there'd be that part of it too, if you want to be like militant about it. Whereas for me, it's the fun about it, which is, again, for Sky, I think you should go play with people. That is a game that I get as a multiplayer experience, right? Where I was talking about Fallout, like, I don't need anybody I feel like in that game. I'm just running around doing my damn thing. Whereas, like, Helldivers, I feel like you don't need it, but you do. You can have fun on your own, but you're going to need people eventually, and you're going to have more fun if you're having a shared experience in that. Bread Boy says, there are some very loyal players of Fallout 76 who haven't really stopped since they started. Totally get it. I love that too. That's awesome that they stuck it out. Jeremy says, the people that love Helldivers like me and those that love Starship Troopers is a circle, and it just hits the vibe so well that you just want to keep on playing. I've never seen Starship Troopers. I've seen clips, obviously. I've seen parts of it, but I've never been all the way. And Blue Haired says, yeah, my friends just aren't hardcore. That might be it for me. I need the challenge. Gotcha. Yeah. Especially if you want to crank it up. You got to have a Fran, you got to have a Gary, and then they yell at each other. Miniora says, listening to Gary talk about Helldivers makes me happy. He could convince anyone to play. True. Gary's obsessed with Helldivers. I love seeing that. Like, Gary loves games, obviously. Gary plays a lot of games, obviously. Gary doesn't get, like, twisted up in a game all that often. And so to see his obsession with Helldivers has been pretty dang impressive. And I was happy to see him hijack the last X-Cast and make it all about that there, Helldivers. Shout out here, I got breaking news for you. Janet Garcia on Twitter. Janet Garcia tweets, got engaged to Isaiah this weekend. Excited for this new era. Well, how? That's fucking rad. Is that already in our Slack? Did we already see that? Must be. I see a general thing, and there it is. Yeah, Joey got it, of course. Joey's on top of it. We're going to say, yay. Congratulations. Throw a retweet that way, too. They're a cute couple. I'm glad they're happy. What's happening over here now? Bread Boy says, any plans to jump back into Sea of Thieves now that it's on PlayStation 5? No. When we were getting ready to launch the Gamescast, we were very much like, okay, cool. Let's, do a Sea of Thieves review and a stream and stuff like that. And it was a weird one where I want to say, I don't want to speak out of church on this one. I think it was that we got codes when early access went live. So, like, everybody already had it. So it was kind of one of those like, oh, okay. So, like, by the time you get a review done, I think it'd be late. And there doesn't seem to be, in our community at least, that much of a fervor for it. You already know we loved Sea of Thieves and stuff like that. And so then it was like also the Pokemon stuff was doing so well that we didn't need to fill in other streams. So I think the ship has sailed on Sea of Thieves. And for me personally, yeah, it was just one of those like, yeah, I had a great time with that. When they dropped Pirates and I went back and I went hard with it, so much fun. But it's one of those I played for those 2 weeks or whatever it was. And like, I got what I wanted out of it. And I feel like I've walked away from it, even though I wish them well. And I'll never say there's, not a chance somebody else would come back or whatever. Everybody's reacting to Janet. That's awesome. I like that. But you blew a bunch of questions off the screen. So that pisses me off. You know what I mean? Because there was definitely more stuff on there. And now it's all gone. Because you wanted to say congratulations to Janet, who can't even see this. Guys, you know what I mean? What do you think of the new Superman suit, by the way? You've seen my reaction, I'm sure. It wasn't what I wanted. Not the suit itself, but the reveal. This, oh man, I gotta get back out there and I'm all covered in dirt is like a cool idea. But like, in practice, I want to see this suit fucking crystal clean. Let's see what's up. Arturotron Robo Bartender says, I played Sea of Thieves with OM Jesus for a stream. Had a lot of fun. It's a great game. Love it. Like, I had a great time with it. But you want to talk about a game I think only works with friends. Me and Mike did all these streams and played together, and then one night he couldn't, and I went do it by myself, and I was like, oh, I'm not having a good time here as I get hijacked by these other people coming after me. Krogan says, in the spirit of Kendrick and Drake beef, when will you drop your PC Gamer diss track? I do it every day. Come on. I got them today. Got their asses on Kind of Funny Games daily. Don't need to worry about setting it to a beat. All right? I'm just there. In fact, you know what? You're all super talented. You've got multiple Greg rants about PC. Somebody out there who knows music, you set it to a beat. You set it to a beat. We'll send it to Gabe Newell. You know what I mean? Start some shit with him. Jeremy says, I feel like that might be one suit he uses. I feel like that might just be one suit he uses, and this is just a starter suit. Totally. Interesting. I doubt that. I think this is going to be the suit. I think it's just dirty, and he got beat up fighting whatever he's been fighting, but whatever. Arturotron says, why does Superman look sad? And what is up with that Brainiac-looking eye of Ekron? I think it's probably Brainiac doing some shit, and I think Superman, again, it isn't sad. It was just more of the oof. It looks like he came home, and he's been home for 2 seconds, and he's got to go right back out. Again, the city's getting blasted with purple shit. Lucy O'Brien had a great tweet that was like off camera in Lois Lane screaming, forget the boots, just go. Slightly Sausage says, sometimes my brothers-in-law, my son, and I will get on a ship in Sea of Thieves and just go on a fishing trip. It's a chill way to spend an evening. That sounds lovely. That sounds like a lovely way to spend an evening. I appreciate that quite a bit. And see, that's one of the things back to the Fallout 76 bit is I could see Fallout 76 being fun that way, as you're all crafting your little things and doing whatever it is and yet ta-da. Because what's the deal even with shared progress? Like, it's only the main quest person. I'm rusty on that even. But like, a good example again is going way back to the beginning of the Gregway when somebody was talking about like sleeping and time and all that jazz. Yesterday when Ben went down for his nap, Jen went down for her nap, and then I got downstairs late. And so I only had like an hour where I was like, okay, this isn't as much as I want to play, but I sat there and I just dicked around with the vault and where I moved my generators and all that, like just a little bit of set dressing out there and stuff. And I was like, this is, again, not rewarding in the way of like, oh, I got XP and I did all these different things, but rewarding in the way of like, oh, you know what? I like this world and I'm appreciating just setting up my little area here. Matthew Hidalgo says that S curl. He says pizza kiss, but then he says chef's kiss is what he meant. It's been a long day. John says, did you ever play Elder Scrolls Online? I hear it has the same kind of updates as 76, but I never tried it. I'm wondering if it is also worth going back to. Elder Scrolls Online, I did play very briefly, maybe 20 hours at launch on PC. Because if you remember, it was coming to PlayStation, but it wasn't day and date. And so I was like, so jonesing to see what it was going to be like. I did PC, and I enjoyed it enough. But that, again, was launch. I'm sure it's a completely different game. And again, when you talk about the Bethesda worlds, for me, Fallout's so much higher than the Elder Scrolls world that I just never felt the real need to go back to it and screw around with it. Blue-haired protagonist says, what are your thoughts on the Kendrick Drake beef? Again, I barely know anything outside of the songs and the diatribes Roger wrote to me. The whole thing seems silly, that people are just mean to each other all the time. Of course, if Drake's a pedophile, fuck him into the sun, but you know what I mean. Like, in general, it's just a bunch of guys yelling at each other to good beats, which I appreciate, and they make a lot of references I don't understand, but that A minor, oh, come on now, that's the fucking line right there. Jacob says, Greg, just want to say you and the team changing the content format to daily live gamescast is the reason I picked up the Kind of Funny membership again. Genius idea, and happy to be back supporting. Thank you. Love you guys. He didn't say thank you. I, for some reason, shoved that in there. Thank you, Jacob. Yeah, that's the hope. The hope would be that people see this, see how much one of our friends responded to my Instagram post on Friday where I put up the schedule for all the Gamescast, the schedule for all the stream. And he was just like, that's so much content. And I was like, yeah, like that's what we do here, right? And we have a good system, I think, to do it and not burn ourselves out and fuck everything up. And so the hope is that, yeah, people looking out at that or coming in and finding us hopefully see that as well and go, hey man, even if I'm not going to use the ad free, even if I'm not going to watch amazing Gregways like this one, even if I'm not, they still say I want to contribute and be part of it, right? Pedro says, what's the best game you've played this year so far? Come on, Helldivers. I think Helldivers is pretty fucking amazing, especially for a game that's been gestating for 9 years based on a game I loved so much from the Vita, excuse me, PlayStation generation. Like, fuck yeah. The fact that they nailed that and crushed that and it's so good. Amazing. Triforce Power. Greg, did you ever talk about you missing the collab with the Nintendo podcast? Tim mentioned on the show that if you weren't sick, you would have gone. Did you have plans to do things in NYC? Great question, Triforce Power. No, we never talked about it. The plan was that Tim and I were going to fly out to New York on Wednesday, do the show on Thursday, and come back on Friday. I was going to collab with the Ecto1_NJ on Instagram again. We were going to do some stuff. But other than that, it was such a quick trip. No, we were just going to go out there, do the 2 podcasts and a Patreon podcast, I think, and come back. But I got sidelined with that sinus infection, so that sucks. And I'm hopeful to do stuff with them soon. Minio Ross says, I'm now less sad about this being my first Gregway. Definitely not a dupe. Good, I'm glad. I'm glad you're less sad about it. Still sad, but not as sad as you could be. Jeremy says, are you surprised that folks that you bring on all seem to evolve to doing some level of on-camera work? From Andy to now Roger at different levels. Do you look for that when you hire? It's a great question, Jeremy. Am I surprised? No. Do we look for it when we hire? I think, of course. I think that's, when we talk about bringing someone on, it's never, well, not, I shouldn't say never, obviously blessing. But I think we're always like, to a new person, like, your role isn't primarily on camera, but you'll probably end up being on camera, right? Like, I think Kind of Funny is a business that flourishes and evolves and revolves around our passions. And so when you have somebody who's as knowledgeable about the Drake Kendrick beef as you have in Roger, right? He could sit on the sidelines and let Bless do it, but would Bless have a counterpoint to that? It makes sense for Roger to do that. As good as Roger is to be on Games Daily, as good as Barrett is to be on Gamescast and talk about whatever weird JRPG he's playing that none of us are giving enough time to. Sea of Thieves, Persona 3. We played everybody's strengths. And I think, again, you, the audience member, make it so easy for people to get in front of the camera and make stuff and enjoy making stuff and not feel like that, you fucking idiot, you're a stupid moron, blah, 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 which you do get a little bit of, but you get way more praise than any other YouTube community I know, or I guess content community I know. That makes it all the easier, I think, for people to come out and do it. So we look for it, but again, it's not our biggest thing. Colton says, Greg, do you still hop on WWE 2K? I'm going to say yes, no, because the answer is no. I haven't been on in a bit. I haven't been in a hot minute, but I made a joke about it, but I'm dead serious. Of May 15th is also the ECW DLC, which I've had the itch to go back to WWE 2K for a while, and I haven't because I'm like, you know what? Rather than jump back in, burn myself out, or just satiate the hunger for now, I'll wait till I can be CM Punk and I can be Sandman and I can go out there and just beat the shit out of some people, the Dudley Boys, which I won't really use ever because I'm not a tag team guy, but I digress. Still very much in the headspace of WWE. still cashing in the locker codes to get the cards and all that shit. I'm excited to get back and do, have Punk in my faction and fuck around there or whatever. Oh, so blue-haired protagonist is saying something we know that we've talked about. People are already answering it, but I'll say it publicly, so if you see this later and don't know. Blue-haired protagonist says, oh, it's weird. I can't lock my phone and play the members' versions of the shows. I'm assuming you can do nothing about it, but it's a bit upsetting. You're right, we can't do anything because that's a YouTube issue, but as everyone points out down here, what we do is that we put an unlisted video in the YouTube description. You can click on that through a members-only video, and then you'd be able to play that unlisted version of the video in the background. For some reason, background play does not work with membership stuff, and that sucks, but we always do what we can do. Matthew Hidalgo says, Greg, how are you doing post Bluey the Sign? My oldest was pretty frustrated. They didn't move, but the surprises at the end of the surprise have perked him up. The last 3 episodes have been a whirlwind. Hey, Andy. Oh, in my bag, in my backpack, I think I brought my razor.
Okay.
Thank you. Andy's gonna shave my neck because he's a trooper out here. He's a helpful young man. I'm still quite depressed after this finale in quotes of Bluey. More than anything, it's the not knowing what's happening next issue of it. Where I've done spoiler cast for Bluey, and there's as Gregway's, there's a kind of funny podcast about it, etc. But the fact I'm upset is more the fact that there was, watching The Sign, I was like, shit, this feels like the series finale. And then even Surprise, right, ends in a way where like, that could have been the final episode, right? And then there's all this weird shit where it's like, the producers say, there's still many more adventures for Bluey. And then somebody from the studio showed up on Reddit and was like, we aren't working on any more episodes. So it's like, there's just all this hullabaloo all the time of like, well, is the show over? And like, that would be my biggest disappointment, is that if Bluey ended but didn't tell people it was over, you know what I mean? Or I guess the other side of it would be another disappointment of Bluey ended the way people wanted it to. Yeah, this is this Loki pack somebody sent me, but I don't want it. I don't want this. I don't, you know what I mean? They're like, do you want some Loki stuff? Shit, fuck. All right, maybe it's on my desk. I definitely brought it, and I put it originally.
Check the front pocket.
Okay, you know what? If it's not clearly on my desk, in the costume closet, on the top shelf is a paper bag that says Greg's WWE shirts. It's going to be in there. KFAF hat.
How does that?
I can walk you through the entire thing if you want, Kev.
I'm here for it.
So this morning, we did some spring cleaning in the closet. I have all these WWE shirts that aren't WWE shirts I would wear just to wear. I want them to keep them for This Is Awesome. Like my CM Punk shirt and like my Drew McIntyre shirt. Those are in my ECW stuff. That's all. I'll wear that anywhere. I'll wear that to a funeral. But some of these like Sami Zayn ones and stuff, like I don't love this shirt, but I want it as an option. So I put them in a bag, and then I put my lunch in that bag, and then I put the razor in the bag. And then we came into work today, and as soon as I walked in the door, I also had a bag full of lemons too. Then we walked in the door today, and Roger was like, have you seen Superman? I was like, what are you talking? So I put everything down kind of, and I put my food into the fridge. And like, don't go crazy. Like, I'm not making you work, but you see it. Like, look at this. You see this?
No, I see.
Like, hideous. Just hideous. Thank you.
I'd love if this became a regular thing. Just
what?
Keeping you clean.
What do you love, Kev?
I said I would love this if this became a regular thing.
I mean, this is time two.
Yeah.
Andy shaved my neck before.
Close. We're getting close.
Can't get much more regular than two. Now, Anthony over here says, what lemons? We got a lemon tree, and this motherfucker is just shitting lemons out left and right. I went out and picked up a whole bunch, and here you go. Too many lemons, Got to do something with them. It's TP. Thanks, Nick. We kept Nick off camera today. You can tell it's pent up. Do you think? Matthew says, I hear you. It deserves a finale and something like The Sign with them. He keeps shouting out spoilers. Would have been perfectly strong emotional beatdown. I mean, without them doing that, I think it's a great beat to end on.
What if I didn't?
What do you mean? Like my beard? Like my actual line? Yeah. I mean, sure. Yeah. Well, let me read one more question.
Real bad with the mic, yeah.
Well, no, I can leave my head back. I just want to have a question. John says, Greg, weird question. Do you ever go to Costco? My brother let me borrow his membership card, and I don't know what is worth buying there. I am single, no kids, so it just doesn't seem like it's worth it.
I mean, Pop-Tarts? There's so many things that you could buy. Like beer?
I mean, Pop-Tarts, there's so many.
I mean, John, yeah, 100%.
Like batteries.
Keep
like
talking, Kevin.
Just batteries alone. Meat. Do you like eating meat? Do you have a freezer? Because, like, here's the thing. If you're like, oh, hey, you know it'd be fun? I'll vacuum seal a bunch of meat seasoned and ready to rock and roll so I can just get home. Or even when I start the day, get the meat, pull it out, throw it in the frozen into the sous vide, you know? Have the sous vide on a timer, or ask your wife to, be like, hey, turn on the sous vide. You don't got a wife. We went over that. Sorry.
Crock pot.
No crock pot. That'll burn your house down. But the sous vide, get one of them Wi-Fi enabled ones. Now you're coming home, you're like, oh, look, the meat's probably still a little frozen. I'm going to need 4 hours to cook it. So turn it on. Boom. Now you got an easy lunch.
Great point.
I made Greg's neck bleed.
My neck's bleeding, everybody.
Good.
I had it coming.
Let me tell you, anytime, I think I've talked about this before, but anytime I'd see like an athlete with the neck beard, I'm like, man, let me get in there. Like, I just want, it's like a power washing sort of thing. Sure. And I just felt like I power washed your neck.
You did a great job, Andy.
Really
Andy,
I appreciate
are you done with the back of his neck?
Yeah, back of the head's done.
Look at that. No more weird little angel wings in the back. I love it. No, I don't want that.
Great.
Thank you.
So much better.
Got so much hair on my chest.
Yeah, don't let it fall in the studio.
Yeah, no, I'll go shake myself off outside at some point. Don't worry about it. Anyways, though, John, no, go to Costco. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, the thing about it, like, I have a box of 45 pouches of Cheez-Its out there. When I need them in the afternoon, I do two Cheez-Its in the bowl and a can of Coke. Living my life. Yep. You know what I mean? Right there.
Yep.
Yeah, Kevin's got it down. Yeah, you want the meat? The meat's there. I get my egg bites there from Starbucks.
Anything frozen, you know?
Anything frozen.
You're like, hey, I'd like to buy Its, but I'm tired of paying $3.50, $3.75 for a pop, you know?
Cliff Bars.
I'll
Oreos.
just get the 12-pack or maybe 18-pack for like $9.
Booze. Bourbon. Vodka. Coke. It's all there.
Whether
it's amazing.
You're throwing a party or you have a problem, booze you can definitely buy there.
Crushing it. Crushing it. I can't recommend Costco enough. Also, I'm a guy who likes the Costco food court.
Who doesn't?
Pop over there, get a slice of pizza, and they're paying me somehow to get this pizza. I don't even know what's happening.
I do miss the Polish. R.I.P. Polish.
Oh, yeah, they take them in. Scooby5 says, I got a vacuum sealer from Costco so I could buy more bulk things at Costco. I can go about 5 weeks between grocery trips. Saving money out there.
Toilet paper, paper towels.
Yep. That's where I get my toilet paper and paper towels. Yeah. Bread Boy says, go buy a gaming PC at Costco. I won't lie to you. Not sure if they have them, but they got PlayStation 5s. They got Xboxes. They got Apple stuff. They got everything. Costco's great. Don't buy cream cheese there. When I was in college,
all right,
I bought bagels from wherever, and then for some reason, my friend was going to Sam's Club, which is basically Costco, and I bought the giant thing of individual Philadelphia cream. They all went bad. I didn't get to them fast enough.
I mean, that's your problem. Like,
I agree.
You have to.
You got to commit. You got to plan.
Or have like a family plan of like, all right, look, I'm going to buy Costco. I'm going to buy way too many pine nuts. I'm going to call my sister and be like, hey, man, you want half or possibly a third of these pine nuts?
Yep.
And then you just have a bunch of pesto.
Crushed it.
Yep.
That's how you got to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your live Gregway as we chat it up, discuss all things under the Greg Sun. Remember, of course, each and every day you can get a Gregway vlog. It's a video and it's also a podcast on Patreon, on YouTube with your Kind of Funny membership. Thank you so much for your support. Thanks for understanding the weird little schedules flipperoo we did here. I hope I made it worth your while to hang out and watch this live. I think the Kind of Funny podcast might actually have gone live while we're here or right beforehand, because Cool Greg was talking to me about, can I just publish this for members? And I was like, you know what? I think you can, but I'm not, don't quote me on that. But because worst case scenario, you get tomorrow at 6 a.m. But I'm checking right now.
He's still checking, folks.
No, I don't see it on there. So no, it hasn't gone live yet.
It'll go live soon.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time, it's been my pleasure to serve you.